Hey everybody, Christina here and from Triathlon Mommy, Dastrom Coaching and Dastrom Run Clubs. And I help moms just like you start a children's fitness business in your community so that you can have three outcomes. You can earn income because this is a business. You can get healthy in your body, in your mind, in your soul. And most importantly, where you can impact the kids in your community with our empowerment curriculum. But today I am super excited because I'm going to be teaching you one of my favorite things to talk about and to teach, one of my favorite lessons that we do with our clients, with our paying clients. But it's so impactful that that I want to share it with you. And part of it is a lesson that I've always taught, and then this process of releasing your subconscious blocks. Actually, I learned from one of my mentors, which is Gita Nardkani, and she helps entrepreneurs with their messaging. So I did her course, which was spectacular, and this was something that I learned. This process is something that I learned with her. But in order for you to understand how to release your subconscious blocks, you need to understand your subconscious. So this is what happens. Let's say that you really, 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 really want to lose weight, but then at 4 p.m. you constantly give into chocolate chip cookie craving. Or maybe you want to start your business and something like as soon as you're about to do it, something comes up and you don't do it. Or let's say that you want to find a relationship, but you just never quite get there. Whatever you really want and you can't get, it's because there is a block, there's a gap between what you know and what you do. And that's what we're going to talk about today, about minding that gap and how do you realize what your blocks are and how to overcome them, because otherwise, what's the point, right? So I'm going to try to be as fast as I can, all right? But there is a lot to cover because this is such an important topic. So let's start with what is your subconscious mind, all right? When we are born, we have two minds. We have our conscious mind, which is our thinking mind, and we have our subconscious mind, which is our emotional mind. So when we are born, we don't have a conscious mind. We're just like a big old bundle of instincts. So we accept whatever is given to us. Our subconscious mind is emotional. It doesn't think. You tell it something and it says like, okay, great. That's what it is then. So when you're born, I'll give you an example. When you are born, you have the ability to speak every single language in the universe. Like every single one is just wide open. But you learn from your senses, right? See, touch, smell, whatever, taste. And so you start hearing a language, and that is the language that you speak. So, for example, I speak Portuguese. That's my native language. And in Portuguese, there's like this really funny sound. It's very nasal. So it's like não and bom and chão. My husband cannot make that sound for the life of him. And he can't because when I was a baby, I grew up with that sound. And so my brain said, okay, this is how you make the sound oh. My husband didn't. So he can't make that sound. Now, I can't make the sounds in Arabic, which is it's very unnatural to me because I never learned that. Those connections in my brain weren't made. So the language that you speak, the food that you like, all these basic, things that define who you are came from when you were young and you didn't have a conscious mind. You just accepted everything that was given to you. So if you were born in Sweden, let's say that you're like a little boy or a little girl, born in Sweden, blonde and blue eyes, right? But then at 3 weeks old, you went to China and you were adopted by a Chinese family. You may look blonde like a Swedish baby, blonde and blue eyes, but you're going to speak Chinese and you're going to like Chinese food and you're going to have the culture of a Chinese person because those are the influences that you got, that your subconscious got. Now, fast forward until you start developing a conscious mind. And the conscious mind is a thinking mind. So it can make choices and it can decide what is true and what is not true. It can decide what you accept and you don't accept. So let's say that you got, that somebody tells you, oh, you know what? You're not good at math. You're in middle school and somebody tells you you're not good at math. And you're like, huh. Your conscious mind is going to take that information and it's going to think about it. And it's going to look at your score and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I got an 80 in my math test. That's not true. Like I'm a badass at math. Like I rock at math. I'm good at math. I don't know what the hell this person was talking about. That's what, and if that is the decision that you make, if that's the choice that you make, that information comes to your subconscious and you're like, I'm a person that's good at math. That just becomes who you are. Doesn't happen one time, right? Over a repetition. But let's say that somebody tells you, like, you know what? You're really not good at math. And your conscious mind takes that information and it looks at the same test score that's 80. And they said, oh my gosh, they're right. I'm not good at math. I only got an 80%. And that is the information that you accept and you bring it into your subconscious. Then guess what? Then you're not going to be good at math. And you're going to reinforce that not being good at math in a million different ways. So you're going to be nervous before a math test. When the teacher says something, it teaches you something in class, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to understand. When you're in a restaurant, you're going to have trouble figuring out the tip or what that's going to be. And every time that you struggle with it, it's a reinforcement to your belief. It's like, I'm not good at math. You see, I can't think 15% to be able to give a tip, or I didn't do well in my math test. So every time that you make those decisions and you're reinforcing the belief that you're not good at math, now it's inside of you. Now it's in your subconscious. And now that is going to affect all kinds of decisions and all kinds of actions that you make for the rest of your life. So that was really fast, but I just wanted to give you an understanding of this thinking mind and your subconscious mind. Because the one that is in charge is your subconscious mind. So you can think and you can tell yourself anything that you want, but that's like 10% of what you do. 90% of your actions are guided and directed by that subconscious mind. So we have to pay attention to that. That's why, let's say, willpower is like, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to lose weight. That's like 10% of you that wants to change against the 90% of you that inside is telling you, like, but you're just a fat girl. You're not going to lose weight. If 10% of you wants to start a business, but 90% of you is telling is like, you're not smart enough. You can't start a business. You're not going to start a business. You will block yourself and sabotage yourself every step of the way. So this exercise, what I'm going to teach you is how do you identify those blocks and how do you release them? Okay, once and for all. So it's several steps. And if you have something that you want to work on, feel free to work on as we talk. Post if you have any questions, post it in the comments and I can help you through it. Okay. So step one, it's a 5-step process. So step one is that you need to identify the block. What is it that you want and that you're not getting? You have to give it words. Okay. So for example, I can't start a business, or I'm not good at math, or whatever that block is. Let's do the math one because it's very neutral in terms of like you can adapt that to anything. Once you understand intellectually what that block is, you have to come underneath it and find the emotion. What is this block? What does it feel like? And don't just intellectualize it, but bring it to your core and feel what is the underlying emotion behind this block. So let's say I'm not good at math, right? What do you feel? It's like, well, it's frustrating because, I can't think fast enough, or it makes me insecure because then I feel less than. And then that's like a high level emotion, right? Anger, frustration is the first thing that comes up. But then I want you to take it one step deeper. What are you really feeling about it? And that's where the truth starts coming out. And ask yourself this. And maybe behind the anger and behind the frustration, Maybe it's shame. Maybe it's guilt because your parents spent all this money on math tutors and you still don't get it. Or maybe it's grief because you wanted to be an accountant, but you can't because you're not good at math. I mean, I'm making this stuff up. I don't know what it is for you, but behind the emotions that first come up, your instinct, there's something underneath it. So try to go there. What does this block really make you feel? And don't just say these things to yourself, but feel them. Feel that shame or that grief or that fear. Like, what is it? Sit with that for a second. That's step one. Step two is identify the goal, identify the opposite. Well, what is it that you want instead? So, in this case, it could be I want to feel comfortable with numbers. Or not even I want, is like I feel comfortable with numbers. I am good at math. I'm trying to see if I forgot something. And so it's your goal in the affirmative. It's like I am good at math. And how is that going to make you feel? Well, when, I'm empowered, I'm smart, I'm respected, I'm admired, I'm a leader. Whatever you being good at math feels like or means to you, put that there. Identify the goal, what it is that you want to feel. That's really important. Sit with that for just a second. Step 3 is the most important step because you have to understand what it is that your subconscious block is trying to protect you from. So your subconscious is not like a pain in the ass that is just like, oh, you want something? Well, you're not going to get it. No, it's not doing that just because it's a pain in the ass. It's doing that because it is protecting you. Sometimes I almost feel like there's another person inside of me. And I even asked about this, because I thought I was going crazy or becoming schizophrenic. But we all have that little voice inside of us, right? And that little voice, that our subconscious voice, it's not there just to make life difficult for us, but it wants to protect us because it is, it has heard, in my case, for 40 something years. In your case, however old you are, it has heard the same story and it has accepted the same messages that you're not good at math, or that you will never lose the weight, or that you will never start a business, or that you will never be successful. It's been hearing that for so long that when you want to change it, it wants to protect it. It says, no, 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 no. Like, I need to protect. This is our truth. We need to stay here. So you're not working against your subconscious, but you have to give it space for it to communicate with you. And I know that it sounds really bizarre, but just trust me. So what you do is, you get on your journal and you start writing. And it's almost like your pen writes for you. It doesn't come from your head. It comes from your heart. There is no judgment. There is no right or wrong. You just want to give your subconscious an ability to express itself. So one way to get that out of you is like, it's like, if I were good at math, I am worried that if I start a business, I am worried that if I lose the weight, I fear that. Give yourself that prompt if you're getting stuck writing, and then just let the pen write for you. This is not a conscious process. This does not come from your head. It comes from your heart. So you need to let your heart speak and just write it out, whatever it is that it's saying. And it can say things that are complete gibberish or that you're like, but I don't believe that. Don't judge it. Just keep writing. This is the place where, imagine that there's like a little kid, right? And like it's a 2-year-old. And like those 2-year-olds that just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, or maybe a little bit older, like 3 and 4-year-old that just do not shut up. Well, that is what you want your subconscious to be. Chatter, 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 chatter. And you don't correct it at every moment, right? You don't tell the 3-year-olds like, well, no, that's not really how the sun works. Well, no, you can't be an astronaut. Well, no, like you don't say that. You just let the kid talk. Just let your inner self talk. Okay. Once you're done with that, then you can go back and you're going to see that some things are like no charge at all. And when you read something back, it kind of like, it hits you in the stomach and mm, it really hits home. That's what you need. So identify the two or the three things that really impacted you in all of that rant of, the little kid inside of you. What are the two or three things that had the most power? So, for example, if you're not good at math, with the you're not good at math example, and you wrote down, oh gosh, I can't even think right now. It's like, but maybe it's like, well, if you're good at math, then you're going to be a banker. And if you're a banker, then you're going to be a bitch or whatever. Or you can't, if you're going to, I can't be, I worry that if I'm a successful businesswoman, that I'm not going to be a good mom. I worry that if I am a successful businesswoman, then I will become cocky or I will lose my friends or whatever it is, right? You're going to have a list of things, but some of them have more power, have more charge. That's the one that you think about. That's the one that you write down, and those are the ones that you focus on. All right. Step 4, you're going to talk to your subconscious and you're going to understand its fears, but then be like, but I can address this fear and still get my goal. So if let's say that you are worried that if you start a business that you're going to be a successful mom and that you're going to be a successful businesswoman, which means that you're not going to be a good mom, then you can come up with strategies and be like, okay, as I become a successful woman, I'm going to make sure that I spend at least half an hour a day with each kid, or I will never work on weekends, or I will set boundaries with whatever. But you come up with strategies where both of your needs can be met, where you can be a successful woman, a successful businesswoman, but where you're also addressing what the deep inside of you, your fears are. Now, this is often the hardest thing to do. And this is often where I work with my clients, where maybe you might need somebody from the outside, a coach, to help you come up with those strategies, because it's really hard to pull yourself out from where you have, that fear and that worry that you have been in for so long, and really see that there's a different way. Okay, so you might need some help here, but it depends on your level of awareness. But step 4 is where you integrate, where you bring together this fear, the worry, what your subconscious is telling you with what your conscious mind can think about and can give you a different story. Because remember, your conscious mind can think, but your subconscious mind will accept whatever you tell it. So if your conscious mind can come up with a way that your subconscious needs are met, but you're still moving towards your goal, and that, my dear friends, that's gold. That's where the success is. And that is where the release of that block is. So it's really important that you get that part. But then there's a 5th step. And the 5th step is that you create an affirmation that holds true for you, that you can feel, and that it connects all of this story for you. So maybe it's, I am a successful businesswoman and I'm still a fantastic mom. Or I am good at math and I relate to everybody else around me. Or I am good at math and I choose to not use it. I don't know, whatever the affirmation that brings both of these things together. I am able to lose weight and still be seen and respected. Whatever your block, you put those things together into an affirmation. And that is the affirmation that you repeat to yourself over and over and over and over again. You can write it on the wall. You can have a reminder on your phone that comes up once a day that gives you the affirmation so that it pops up. You look at it, you see it, you feel it's like, yes, I am a successful woman or a successful businesswoman, and I'm a fantastic mom. And that will become your truth. So let me review the 5 steps for you right now. Number 1 is identify your block and identify the emotions behind it. Number 2 is, what is your goal? What is the opposite? What is it that you want? And how's that going to feel when you have that? Number 3 is, let your subconscious talk to you. What is it trying to protect you from? What is the story that it's telling you? And write it out and just let it speak without judgment. Number 4 is to figure out a way, using your conscious mind, how can you have this, your needs met at a subconscious level, but also move you towards that goal? Where do you find that integration of putting these two things together? And step 5 is to create an affirmation based on that, based on step 4, so that you can do your goal and still respect your subconscious. It's almost like that little kid is being taken care of. Now, this is a process, and it might take a little bit of time for you to get it, right? So just keep trying. And it's not like a one and done thing, because let's say that your block is, about being a successful businesswoman. There are so many layers in there. There's so many stories that you have told yourself. So just because you do it once doesn't mean that you'll never do it again. And be curious, be playful, and be like, well, I wonder what's going to come up. I have done this with all kinds of issues and with all kinds of things that stop me. And I never realized the depth of the emotions behind my blocks. So keep going and keep trying. And you can do on the same block over and over again to see if different things come up. Or you could do it on random things or on different things, on anything that you want. Try the process, because it 1000 absolutely percent works. Okay. So if you try this and you're getting stuck, feel free to comment below or send me a DM, and I can try to help you through it, because this is really impactful. And I promise you that it can change your life. Like, really, it really can. All right. And yeah, and I hope that you use this tool and this understanding of your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and talking, because when they're integrated, that's where you have the power. That's where things can help, where you can help move things through. Now, because I always do this, if you are interested in starting a children's fitness business and you have all these blocks or all these stories that you can't do it because it's going to take too much time, or it's going to take too much money, or you are not going to be successful, or you've tried starting a business in the past but it failed, or whatever your block is regarding that, work on that block. And if you need help, book a call and let's talk. Let's talk to see if those stories are really true. And if they are, how can you overcome them? And if they're not, how can you choose a different, more empowering one? And we can help you with that, because we have a model that works. And when it's worked for me, it's worked for all my clients. Chances are that's going to work for you. And chances are that the difference between where you are today and where you want to be is those blocks that you have and the lack of support or guidance in order for you to overcome them to achieve your goals. All right. So I hope that you guys learned something from this, enjoyed this training. Leave a comment down below. If you have any questions, I'll come back and I will see I will see them and I'll answer them. Feel free to tag me, DM me. The door is open. All right. The door to your subconscious blocks is also open. So follow the steps, get in there, think about these things, and you're going to see that you're going to come back on the other side totally empowered and ready to tackle the things that you thought you never could. Crazy how those things work. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great Wednesday.